Good evening. The anthems impeccably observed in the Stockholm Stadium Strawberry Arena, which isn't quite full, but the fans are making plenty of noise to give the impression that it is, as the players get acquainted just in front of the halfway line. Running you through the team news, starting with Northern Ireland. No Trey Humer, Ethan Galbraith. They are both out due to injury. Paul Smith and Lee Bonus drop to the bench as Terry Devlin, Justin Devaney and Jimmy Donnelly make their first senior starts. Rory McConville earns his third cap, so it's Piers Charles in goals. The defence is Brown, McConville and McNair, flanked by Spencer and Devlin. Saville and Shea Charles will screen in midfield, and just ahead of them is Devaney, with Donnelly accompanying Price in the Northern Ireland attack. For Sweden, the hosts make 7 changes to their starting lineup after their Luxembourg loss. Stoke City's Victor Johansson comes in for Robin Olsen between the posts. Victor Lindelof wears the captain's armband. The Manchester United defender joins a backline with Hein and Gudmundsson. Anton Celestros, who plays in Stockholm for Ike, he is the only midfielder remaining from that side that they fielded on Saturday. Plenty of changes. Yassine Ayari is one of them, the Brighton midfielder coming in to the lineup. Isak spearheading the attack. He has had a blistering season with Newcastle United and will clearly be the man that Northern Ireland will be keeping an eye on. And beside him, Benjamin Nygren making his first international start. Former Northern Ireland international John O'Neill is beside me for this one. John, always a pleasure. Your thoughts ahead of a big night in Stockholm?
It's going to be difficult. It depends really, what sort of reaction Sweden have from the defeat against Luxembourg. If you look at their record in their friendlies, they've lost 4 out of the last 6. In their competitive games, they've only lost 1 out of 6. So it depends which Swedish team turns up. The difference could be Isak up front, because we know what a quality player he is. And listening to the guys just before the game, as a centre half, I looked at centre forwards in the opposition, and you would love to play against the best players in the world, and he obviously is one at the minute. So the lads at the back won't be they'll be looking forward to it, possibly a little bit nervous, but you look at the 2 lads we've lost. For me, Michael, they were 2 definite starters, and probably will be 2 starters, as we go on. But it's another game where we've got a lot of youngsters in the team, a lot of inexperience, and it's another good game for them, to get that experience under their belt.
Isak standing over the ball. Sweden in their home strips, yellow jerseys, shorts with a light blue trim on them and yellow socks, playing from left to right. Northern Ireland in green jerseys, white shorts and white socks. The armband on Shea Charles. Michael O'Neill clearly has so much faith and trust in him, even at this early stage, and we'll talk about him in a minute, because Northern Ireland almost through on goal. They're trying to get a shot away, and they've managed that. It's an early opportunity for Justin Devaney, who was harrying Sweden into a mistake less than 30 seconds in.
Yeah, I mean, Sweden trying to play out from the back on the edge of the 18-yard box, per passes, but a green shirt just couldn't get on the ball and get a good strike. And we were just commenting on the fact, Michael, that usually against Sweden, they would have played 4-4-2 and played it long. This is a totally different Swedish setup.
Jon Dahl Tomasson, the Sweden manager, the former Denmark international, ripping up that. He says some thought it was a bit of a revolution more than an evolution that he was creating in the country when he decided to go against the old tried and tested.
Well, maybe the jury's still out on that one as well, Michael.
Isak finding a good pass, and Sweden trying to penetrate, looking inside. The ball from Nygren was cut out and cleared at the expense of a throw-in. Sweden near the corner flag on the near side, with plenty of players moving into the area, but instead electing to go short, and the ball at the foot of Hein, who sprays it all the way across to the far side and looks for Ken Sema, the former Watford man, out for a throw-in. As you might expect, Sweden getting a bit of early possession at home. Northern Ireland getting the decision there. And Michael O'Neill, he was speaking coming into this game, saying, I'm not going to make change for change's sake.
No.
People were asking him about giving people debuts and things like that. There's no sentimentality here. He wants to create a competitive atmosphere.
I'm sure, like, you know, both him and the players want to get a result out of this game, but you know, they put in a severe shift on Friday night, and you know, legs will tire as the game goes on.
Spencer getting the ball down Northern Ireland's left, trying to work her way through. The round of applause from the home fans. They liked the work from home, getting back and winning the ball, and he went to ground a little easily, and he's been given the decision by our match referee, who I should mention is Matthew McDermott from Scotland, the young ref, just 31 years of age, taking charge of plenty of games in the SPFL. Sweden breaking down the far side. Brown getting a touch to clear it out of the box. They thought about trying to get a shot away there, weren't quite able to find the room. Seletros initially doing that. He has it again, plays it to Sema. A little drag back and a flick, and that takes it over the line. He was being watched by Terry Devlin, who takes a high five for his good defensive duties there. He wasn't flustered. No, he just kept, you know, his concentration, didn't dive in, saw it out for a goal kick. I mean, like, if you look at possession-wise again, I think we're going to be on the low side in terms of possession. But as we spoke about on Friday night, Michael, despite the, you know, having not as much possession as Switzerland did, we had more shots on target. Well, Northern Ireland looking for a bit of joy with a long ball. It didn't fall for Price. It nearly broke. Eventually, Salvo can put his foot on it and find Spencer. He's moved it down the side for Devaney. He's done really well with his footwork there, and Lindelof is protesting his innocence, but the free kick has gone against him for hands on the back of the young Crystal Palace man. Yeah, it was a soft free kick, but at the end of the day, you know, the ball's gone past him. He has pushed him, and you know, he's made the most of it. But it's a free kick right on the touchline, and you expect something, you know, into the middle of the 18-yard box. Sweden have always had big defenders, and it's the same here tonight again. As a defender, what sort of cross do you not want to deal with here? Is it the whip it into the corridor of uncertainty and see if a touch happens? If Shea Charles puts this into the 6-yard box, you know, between the 6-yard box and the goalkeeper, it's very hard to defend. Anybody gets a touch on that, it could go in the net, whether it's a defender or an attacker. Well, that's what he's done. He's looked deep with it as well, and they get the header off there. Rory McConville arriving, and it's into the side netting. A few of the travelling fans who that happened right in front of, yeah, they thought showing their appreciation. Side, yeah, but it was a good free kick. McConville didn't quite get the header. He was expecting it to get it back into the, you know, the penalty spot. Didn't get enough on it. Approaching 5 minutes. Sweden 0, Northern Ireland 0 in this international friendly. Northern Ireland looking to build on a positive display against Switzerland on Friday night, and that's a 1-1 draw. Oh, unlucky, he's just had it too far there. Ball out of defence for Northern Ireland, looking for Price, who was hugging the far touchline. Yeah, 8 acres of space there. It's just there was just too much on the pass. Good challenge from Devlin's done again. He's done well again there, Mike. Devlin's earned a throw in. What an opportunity for him to come in from the start. Shows you that he impressed off the bench. Yeah, you know, it's you know, when I draw comparisons to when I came into the side, I came into the side with a lot of experienced players, Michael. There's a lot of young boys there who are learning the game together. Well, Brody Spencer's the furthest forward. Johansson, tell you what, he's done really well there, the Swedish keeper. Pressure, yeah, he was definitely under pressure there. He got a back pass. He had Brody Spencer bearing down on him, and he was able to find a ball forward. Sweden couldn't keep it in. Northern Ireland get the throw in, but not for the first time. In fact, the referees now decided the throw in's gone the other way, but not for the first time. Passing around the back has put the hosts under a bit of pressure. Yeah, they're I don't think they're as good. They're doing it again here, Michael. It's, you know, to me, it always puts me, you know, my heart in my mouth being as a defender, watching defenders playing the ball outside their 18-yard box. But one of the best things about Friday night's performances was the shape of the team, you know, and they kept it regimental. You know, they weren't drawn out of their shape at all. He's looking to try and find a way through. Alexander Isak, the flag has stayed down. He's moved it past a couple of players and found a really good ball for home, and Sweden are in front. Well, we were waiting to see a flag go up. It never happened. Isak skipped past a number of challenges before passing through the box and arriving was Emil Holm for his second goal for Sweden. 7 minutes gone. It is Sweden 1, Northern Ireland 0.
I think the defence there was waiting for a flag. We're just going to see it again here. No, he's a mile onside, actually.
He's run so well, John.
Isaac does brilliant here. You know, there's 4 or 5 green shirts around him. You think he's going to shoot 2 or 3 times, and then he just finds holes in space, but it's a tremendous finish.
Well, Charles tries to close him down. He finds a way to squeeze it past him at the near post. Nothing the keeper could do there. But Northern Ireland's defence were carved open.
Yeah, I think they were trying to play offside and just got caught.
Isaac is just so intelligent in the way he makes that run. And
yeah, you could have saw, you know, other strikers being greedy, you know, as he's come across the front of the 18-yard box, he would have had the shot, but you know, all he could see was green shirts in front of him, and he picks out Holm standing on his own. Great ball to him. His touch was perfect and his strike was even better.
Holm, who plays his club football in Italy with Bologna. He was called up from the standby list after Hugo Bolin picked up a foot injury in a cup match for his club side Malmo. Talk about taking the opportunity.
Yeah, it was a great finish. That's going to settle him down a little bit.
It also shows you, when you have a really quality player, it's not just what they can do themselves, but naturally it draws everyone to you, and it frees other players.
It did, yeah. But I mean, at the end of the day, we said that, Michael, he's the difference in the two teams.
It's a Sweden team without Dejan Kulusevski, without Victor Gyökeres, so they do have other high-profile players.
Yeah, they have a few missing, you know, but we have a few missing as well. You know, Hume's gone, Ballard's not there, Bradley's not there, Galbraith's not there, and for me, those are guys who had been in the starting 11. But I've always said this about friendlies, you know, the result doesn't matter a whole lot, particularly with Northern Ireland. I mean, we were talking about it, how do you get motivated for friendlies? When it comes to the big games, our lads are usually on song for that. But, you know, sometimes you learn more from a defeat than you ever do from a victory, and particularly, you know, when you're young lads coming into the side. I'm sure, you know, if the back three get a look at that again, they would think we should never have been looking for offside there against Isaac, because he was well on.
Devlin. Initial pass was cut out, but he gets it back. Shea Charles, brilliant little flick from him with the instep. Looked like it was going behind him, and he just shifted his balance and shifted past his man halfway inside Sweden's half. Northern Ireland play slightly slowed down because the hosts have got back into shape, but a keep ball from Michael O'Neill's men. Oh, and that's not a bad idea from Kieran Brown.
Oh dear, he was close, wasn't he?
Johansson was on the edge of his box. It just bounced inside the area, and they could grab it before he had the ball taken away from him. Yeah,
it wasn't a bad ball. The keeper did well to be right on the edge of his 18-yard box to pick that up. He's further back. Price gets on the end of it.
It does appear that Donnelly is the further forward, with the other two just off of him.
Oh, sorry, it was Donnelly. Yeah, sorry, Michael. Yeah, he is. Yeah.
Interesting how they have a bit of rotation in that particular three tonight, whereas Bonus was the
main man.
The main man on Friday. Seema showing his prowess, working his way into the box. Northern Ireland have loads of green shirts in there. In the end, it's Saville Cam, the only Northern Ireland player over 30. I'm sure he loved that statistic. Oh, and they've
playing it well.
Worked away through again, and the shot was snatched at in the end. Negrin was just outside the box, left-footed, lashing at it.
Yeah, good, you know, quick passing. You know, it doesn't give us time to close the ball down, but his finish was left a lot to be desired.
He plays his club football in Denmark with Nordsjælland. One of the first people to congratulate him on his international debut at the weekend was Michael Essien, who's involved in that club.
It's a foul. Yeah.
There's a foul. Fish on the back there of Donnelly, just inside his own half.
Well, we've got to settle down again and get ourselves back into the game. I think that's a little bit of a shock for us after, you know, defending so well on Friday night against Switzerland, and the goal came from a sloppy picking up at a corner. You know, the back three, the back five will be disappointed with the goal.
Yes, if you are just joining us, we have played 11 minutes. Sweden are 1-0 up. Emil Holm's goal in the 7th minute. The difference between these two teams early on and what has otherwise been Not a bad start from Northern Ireland.
No, I mean, they've been playing the ball long, and trying to win it in the Swedish half and take it from there. It's paid off a little bit for them.
Looking for something a bit more direct this time. No one on the end of it. It was headed, and Johansson.
I'll tell you what, that's brilliant from the goalkeeper.
Wow, excellent goalkeeping. He ran along his line and was able to not just put a tackle come pass, but find a teammate as well.
Yeah, you thought he was going to put it in the stand, but it was a great clearance and set up an attack.
Really good composure from Victor Johansson. Stoke City have been struggling. He has in recent times become their captain, and even Stuart Dallas has been praising his performances. Northern Ireland get the throw in on the near side, just inside their own half, as Jon Dahl Tomasson comes to the edge of his technical area and he's gesturing something to his players. A little observation he's had. Michael O'Neill not pacing the lines just yet, John.
No, it's early days yet. They'll be disappointed with the goal, but as I said, you've got to learn from that. You've got to get yourself back in the game.
Jimmy Donnelly. He's ended up drifting quite deep there to play a little 1-2 with his goalkeeper.
Yeah, they're pushed up. They're trying to stop us from playing out from the back. I mean, the goalkeeper's got the ball now for an absolute age here.
He was waiting for someone to come and get him.
Yeah, I mean,
the kick long didn't work. He's come forward again. Isak from 18 yards puts it comfortably over the bar. Nothing for Charles to worry about, but a little indication of something Northern Ireland need to be careful with.
Well, I've said this in numerous games, Michael. We're trying to play out from the back. They've closed us down, so you've got to accept the fact that you're not going to be able to do it. And eventually, after what seemed like an age, Pierce Charles decides to kick the ball, but he's kicked the ball straight into where they're strong. We've got to push up. He's got to wait until the players push up before you kick it long.
Well, a clear night in Stockholm. Ideal conditions in many ways for a game of football. Ball back with Northern Ireland. Devlin taking it on his right foot and able to drop his shoulder and move away from Nanasi. Shade Charles, that's a foul. Easy decision for the Scottish official there. Slide tackle coming into the back of Price, and he's just holding on to his Achilles for a moment.
I think it was good. Munson just got straight through the back of him. It was an easy decision for the referee. He's played a lovely ball, I think, there as well. Price out to Devlin, but the referee needed to give the free kick. He's come right through the back of him.
Nothing wrong with your eyesight, John. Good spot it was. Good Munson, who's got a little wag of the finger, jogging back to position. Do centre backs practice those innocent faces?
You used to get away with them.
15 minutes played in the Strawberry Arena. Northern Ireland's free kick just over the head of McConville.
Oh, it's not a bad free kick. We just couldn't get on the end of it. Just needed a little touch, but it's gone past everybody. Went out for a goal kick.
Well, there's another ball on the pitch, so Johansson's going to delay his goal kick whilst he gets rid of that extra one. We'll jog back now. What do you think Michael O'Neill will be saying to his players? I'm sure there's no mad panic at this stage.
Well, at the end of the day, they've had probably two chances. Obviously, the one that they scored with, and the one was it Isak had put over the bar. Outside of that, we're not threatening the goal at all at the minute.
Sweden have had just under 2/3 of the possession, 65% in their favour.
That's why we can't afford to give away early goals. We have to go chasing the game, and it doesn't suit us, to be honest.
Sweden, who are ranked 27th in the world, top their Nations League group, getting promotion to League B after scoring plenty of goals, 19 goals in total, and an undefeated run.
Yeah.
They can afford to have Premier League players like Anthony Elanga on the bench.
That's the thing, if you look down through the teams that these guys, the Swedes, are playing with, they're a lot of experience, a lot of Champions League games, and our players, are lower down in the leagues, and don't have that experience at that level.
Well, offside given against Sema there, just on the far side this time. Northern Ireland had held their line well.
Yeah, when you go back to the goal, I mean, Isak made it was brilliant the way he staggered his run. When I looked at it first, he appeared that he could have been offside, but his run was timed to perfection.
A lot of those long balls that Northern Ireland are playing are being gobbled up at the moment by Heinen, centre back. He's an imposing figure in there, the Atalanta defender.
Yeah, if you're going to play the ball long, you've got to make sure it's better quality of ball. We just can't get a hold of it at the minute. It's all yellow shirts at the minute.
Northern Ireland being swarmed. Sweden buoyed by their early opener, and again getting the ball on the left-hand side. Seen plenty of it, hasn't he, Samet?
Yeah, he's been a handful.
Wanted to try a trick or two, went for the safe option. They're passing it around the pitch and trying to find a way through Northern Ireland as they go through the gears. Now on the near side, the goal scorer home. It's a wonderful ball. Isak arriving, it was just a little ahead of him. They'll keep it alive on the far side, and Northern Ireland will get the ball back now, but that could have so easily been two.
Yeah, it was a great cross from home again. I thought Isak just needed to almost lean into it to get a header on it. Must have been just the pace of the ball that's beaten him, and it's flashed across the 6-yard box.
Well, it feels like when they want to, they can find another level.
Well, that's unusual for Pierce Charge. He skied one right up in the air, didn't get any distance with that clearance.
Just starting to assert themselves more, Thomason's team. Spencer, it's head tennis here. He headed it across. Devlin got a touch on it on his head, and it's over again on the far side for a throw-in for Sweden. And they'll take it quickly, and the Nasi shifts it right foot to left foot, parallel with the edge of the area. Almost got the ball through, and it was a good challenge there. And Northern Ireland, I mean, look at how many green jerseys, John, are back around the box. It's hard to break away when your teammates are nearly all behind you.
Yeah, they're pushing, they're squeezing it very, very well, and they're not, the Northern Ireland can't get any time on the ball at all.
Northern Ireland now know who they will play in June before the Iceland home international away to Denmark after. Well, it was a very high-scoring Sunday, all things told, but Denmark's game, 7 goals, 5 of them for Portugal after extra time.
Well, the games are just going to keep coming, and another game against Denmark is going to be a tough game as well.
Scandinavian flavour was the words of our manager, Michael O'Neill. Northern Ireland in possession.
Yeah, we can't get out at all. We just keep going back to Pierce Charge here.
Approaching 20 minutes. Sweden 1, Northern Ireland 0.
We don't seem to know what we want to do here. The goalkeeper's standing with the ball just outside the 18-yard box. He's waiting for the Swedes to close them down, and they're not biting. That's a great ball.
He's found a really good pass inside, but it was given away. I think it might have been Price that flicked it, and offside is given against Isak. Did he not time his run there? Maybe it's gone a little early.
No, I think he went early. I mean, I think it was a beautiful ball from the goalkeeper. I'm not sure. Is that Price in there? I couldn't see. In that particular time, he's tried to pass it out to the left-hand side here to find Spencer. That's one he should be able to hold up and then bring us up the park. Playing it too quickly.
Paddy McNair actually did really well to step out and time that. Paddy McNair, who, when I was preparing for this game, I couldn't believe it. It's 10 years today from his international debut. Where have 10 years gone, John?
Oh, yeah, I remember it as well. We were just talking about it earlier in Scotland, I think it was it?
You're right. Late goal for Scotland on that occasion. Christoph Berra gave the hosts the win in a friendly match, but 10 years on, what a colossus he has been for Northern Ireland, without question. This is his 75th cap tonight. I'm sure he'll have designs on 100, won't he?
Well, you would think so, although at the end of the day, I'm not sure, when he went to San Diego, we couldn't understand that move, but...
Oh, Price cuts in off the left-hand side. He's gone for a goal from distance, and it's the sort of thing a man high on confidence would try. It was rather easily seen off by the goalkeeper, who took it in his midriff and was able to hold on to it.
Yeah, he did well. I mean, he picked it up on the left-hand side and cut inside, and they backed off a little bit from him, but I mean, he must have been 25, 30 yards out. He wasn't going to beat the goalkeeper from that, even if he had hit it well, and it wasn't the best of shots anyway.
Good defending from Brown there, stepping out, winning the ball. Nearly could have gone against him, actually, because it almost ricocheted to Swedish players. They've been very quick.
They have been, yeah. They've been forcing us back to the goalkeeper quite a lot. And again, you know, we're in this situation, which has occurred quite a few times. You know, Pierce Charles has got the ball in the edge of the 18-yard box, looking to play it forward, and they've pushed right up on top of us.
Good give and go. Devlin receiving the ball, moving over the halfway line, playing it into Devaney. Tried a little touch there. Not quite sure that he meant to keep the ball, but he's been able to keep the ball, which was important.
This is his best player to play here.
Really good play, and Devaney gets it back to Spencer. Have a shot yourself. Oh, he nearly scored. Just over the crossbar, inside the box. And it really was begging to be hit, and sometimes defenders just want to find a pass.
Yeah,
Spencer did well to get the shot away.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great piece of play right the whole way through from the goalkeeper. And, you know, as he took it on the turn, you could see him trying to curl it into that top right-hand corner. That's the one where you wanted Price on the end of it. But it was a great move right from the goalkeeper. That's the best period of play we've had in the game. And hopefully, you know, that'll give him a little bit of confidence to start passing the ball around.
It was a really good bit of build-up play for Northern Ireland, stroking the ball, 1-2 touches between teammates. Started on the right side, finished on the left side, just inside the box. And
it's one of those moves that come all the way from the goalkeeper, and you hold your hand up and say, well, that's the way you want to play out from the back.
It would have been a marvellous goal, and he really was just a whisker away from finding that far top corner. And speaking of corners, Sweden have earned one. Devlin, who was...
Well, Devlin's going to know he's in a game there, because Selma's getting a lot of the ball on the left-hand side. He's a big, strong, left-sided, you know, midfield player, wing-back. And he's been causing us problems down that left-hand side.
I was just thinking he was one of the orchestrators of the attack, and then he's having to get back. Covering plenty of ground, Devlin. He's marking the front post. Corner comes in over his head, over everyone's head. In fact, it's out on the near side for a goal kick. Yeah,
that's one again, and I thought maybe Charles should have come. But, you know, the pace of it has beaten everybody, and it's gone out for a goal kick on the far side. You're just seeing the goal again here. Isak was absolutely brilliant. His pass here to Olm, perfect weight on it. And Charles comes out, tries to close him down, but you know the pace of the shot's beating him. But you know, as I was saying, Michael, as we were watching this, how many centre forwards had you seen when they got the middle of the goal would had a strike, you know? But he's clever enough; he gets his head up, sees him in the perfect position, and gives him a perfect ball.
24 minutes played. Sweden 1, Northern Ireland 0, as Kieran Brown.
I mean, we're 1-0 down and we haven't really got into the game.
Michael O'Neill will be hoping that chance a couple of minutes ago will have given them some confidence. Kieran Brown's been allowed to come an awful long way with the ball.
Yeah, he's been allowed to go along. Oh, dear.
And then Spencer on his left side.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Shanks it.
Yeah, Brown's gone like from just outside his own 18-yard box to the edge of their 18-yard box, and he's played it out to the left-hand side. And I think Spencer tried to cross it first time. He's totally got it wrong, and you know what could have been a good opportunity has been wasted.
Well, it might be something to keep an eye on, even from a tactical point of view for Northern Ireland. Are Sweden targeting certain players to press, and they've essentially thought, well, Kieran Brown, we'll let him have a bit more of the ball. He ends up running half the pitch, and they go, oh dear, what's happened?
Well, if that's the case, then he should keep doing it.
He might want to have to keep doing those runs.
Sorry, Mike, when they break just with that little bit extra pace. And Selma again.
And well Devlin again.
Devlin stuck with him, you know, he's had to. Managed to get the block in again. I would say he's been blown a little bit because he's been running them up and down that left-hand side.
Terry Devlin has some engine. He's going to have to remind everybody just how fit he is. Being kept very honest as Sweden have this corner kick. It's Nanasi. They tried something clever, didn't pan out in the end, and Northern Ireland have been not too clever. Poor pass, shot comes in, and it's flying high and ugly off target. I think it was Soletros who went for it, letting fly.
We were careless on the edge of the 18-yard box, trying to play our way out, and thankfully, you know, it didn't go to one of the, you say, the better strikers of the ball, because he's ballooned that well into the stand.
Just as we're describing it, the replay monitor cut to a shot of the manager and Jon Dahl Tomasson, who could strike a football. He wasn't very happy.
That's good plays. You know, it's a good pass out to. I'm not sure, was it Spencer that time, yep. Michael? You know, and he's held the ball up. He's brought the foul, but we've got to be very careful there because, you know, if you're playing the ball into his feet there, like he's doing it again, we've got to get support to the player there. We're playing a lot of balls in the feet, you know, but we're not getting turned. The ball that's coming in the feet is going straight back.
Across the line, hadn't it?
We've been careless, we've passed it out for a throw-in.
Yeah, we're on the far side. Devlin just stopped with it, which was the clue that he wasn't able to keep the ball in. Northern Ireland, a little clumsy in possession. They've got themselves a goal kick here.
Yeah, he's looking for a goal kick. That was never a corner kick. That was never a corner kick.
Well, when you look at players wanting to, you know, stake a claim in the team, for Rory McConville, who's on cap number 3 tonight, a couple of sub-appearances since his move to Norwich City, limited game time. What an ask. Come in and mark one of Europe's best strikers.
That's right. It's a tough ask for him, but that's what he's going to have to do, particularly if he's going to, you know, if he's going to want to hold down one of those sort of back 3 berths. He's got a lot of competition there.
Oh, what a ball. Johansson has had to come out of his goal, and he's got the header. The bounce just took it above Shea Charles. Was there a handball there? No. Hine has mopped it up, spun round and played it back into his keeper, who's now back in his net. But it was a long ball forward. Shea Charles ran, everybody else waited, definitely onside, and a bit of a let-off actually for Sweden.
It was a nothing ball. I mean, it was just a ball that was sort of straight down the park. Charles got on the end of it, but you've got to hold your hand up to Johansson. That's twice he's come out of his 18-yard box to clean up the danger. But that's what goalkeepers do now, Michael. You know, they don't hang about in the 18-yard box anymore. They come out and clear danger, they come out and join in the play.
They have the ball, the hosts moving into Northern Ireland's half. The ball with their goal scorer home. Nutmeg on Spencer to move away from him, and he clips the ball all the way to the far side. Devlin heads it up but not away. Isaac's in there behind him, a little shove. Price has got the throw in, has he?
Yeah, Devlin did well there twice. You know, he's had to get the first header in, and then eventually he's had to go for the second one as well. Good play by the goalkeeper. You know, he just takes it on his head, just stuns it down to Hine, and he does the rest. Possible handball maybe, but he's got away with it.
I'm surprised none of the Northern Ireland players were just able to watch a replay of it there. I'm surprised no one complained.
They were too far away.
His arm is definitely up. I think that was one of those cute ones where you think maybe they'll not notice, and ultimately the referee didn't. He's on the ball here, Hine. We're on the far side of the pitch. It's congested. It's like a playground sort of football at the moment.
Pinball there. Everybody's in the one position there.
Now they fall back into formation as home inside the centre circle. Tries to take it up the pitch a little bit for Sweden. "30 minutes gone." The one thing you would have to say is Pierce Charles hasn't really had to do too much. He's picked the ball out of his net. A couple of shots have gone over.
No, I mean, it was one classy piece of play from probably the best player on the park, and we're behind.
Hopefully not tempting fate as Sweden have the ball with Sema again. Step over, another step over. He drags it back, rolls it under his boot. He's very casual. Yeah,
Devlin's done well though. He's taken him right to the by-ball line, and he's followed him all the way there and all the way back. He'll know he's in a game. He's doing well.
Well, Sweden tried to say, is that our throw-in, after one of their teammates just booted it into touch. Absolutely not, says the Scottish referee, Matthew McDermott. I mean, there's optimistic and then there's that. McConville. Ball flicked on, and captain for the night, Shea Charles, finds Brodie Spencer. There's nobody ahead of him, so even if he had it under control, he couldn't have gone anywhere. He's conceded a throw in.
He's been isolated there, Spencer, and
does he need to have a word with the teammate when that happens? Because you get a pass in an area and you're thinking, well, where am I meant to go?
No, at the end of the day, he's tried to outrun the fullback. He hadn't got it in him. He was basically, should make sure he gets control of the ball and look to play it back. But it wasn't the best of passes, and he didn't make the best of choices either when he picked up the pass.
Still the one goal Northern Ireland trail by is lovely bit of football from the back from Sweden, playing their way out of trouble. Ayari was involved there. In again, and Pierce Charles has pushed it into the path of Nygren, and it's 2-0 to Sweden as the forward opens his international account. Sweden 2, Northern Ireland 0, and there's a long way back now for Michael O'Neill's side.
And it's all coming from the right-hand side, and to be fair, Michael, the difference is Trey Hume's not there tonight. McConville gets caught here, he doesn't see the run in behind him, and when the cross comes over, Charles just pushes it straight out. 6-yard box. I mean, I could have scored that one, but see, McConville doesn't pick up the runner. Probably Charles should have done better than that as well. That's a poor goal. The first goal was a pretty good goal, but to me that's a poor goalkeeper.
He's standing in the middle of the area with nobody around him at all, able to side-foot it in. I mean, he could have put his foot in the ball and counted to 10.
Yeah.
Nobody near him, and that is a disappointing goal. The pass from Seema down the left-hand side to the overlapping Gudmundsson. Yeah. He fired it across, and as you say, keeper got a hand to it, but no defenders reacting. An easy goal. Sweden 2, Northern Ireland 0.
Yeah, once they got in the back of us, there was no coming back from that. It was a 5-a-side goal for them then. Nygren will never score an easier goal than that.
Well, Northern Ireland, who coming into this one had kept 7 clean sheets in their last 12 internationals, just the one goal conceded against a top 20 nation in Switzerland. It was all pointing to positives, but as you rightly say, when you take another high-profile defender out of a defence already, missing a couple.
Yeah, but that's, we've faced those problems all down through the years. We just don't have that quality and depth of player. And as I said earlier, I mean, you look at that, you've got Hume, Ballard and Bradley, who would have been in our back five starting.
I think Shea Charles might have been on the wrong side of his man there. He's been pushed over, and the free kick has been given. The yellow card is coming out.
Yeah, I thought he actually might have been offside, but certainly he got on the wrong side of Seaman, and he had to bring him down.
That was untidy defending, just by any means necessary, grabbing all over the back of Shea Charles on the edge of the box. So Northern Ireland have a chance to pull a goal back, and with 10 minutes until the break, it would change certainly the feeling.
Yeah, get us back into the game. We need something to give us a lift here, and it's not it's not a bad position here with this free kick. It's almost at the the corner of the 18-yard box.
Shea Charles standing looking at it. Will it be Charles to take it? Saville's there alongside him. In from the left bit of Saville. Brown, I think he got the head to that, but it's hit someone from Sweden and then been belted away.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad free kick, but fortunately it's a yellow jersey, gets a head on it rather than a green one. We're all the way back to the goalkeeper now again.
I actually don't think Sema was booked after all that. I think the referee just was adjusting his pocket, because initially it's the sort of foul, definitely in a competitive game you'd be booked for that.
If it had been the referee from Friday night, he would have a yellow card.
At least the first half version of him.
Yeah.
He was a new man in the second half. A lot calmer. Northern Ireland building from the back with Pierce Charles angling a diagonal ball, but straight back to Sweden it goes.
We're not getting anything off that at all, trying to play out. We had one good chance, one good move up the field, but outside of that, everything else, they've closed it down, and when we've kicked it long, we've found the ball just coming straight back at us. So either we've got to get Shea Charles on the ball and bring us out of there, or we've got to try and play a little bit longer, just change it up a little bit, try and make them play in their half for a little while. I mean, Sweden are quite happy to allow Pierce Charles to have it here because they've pushed up everywhere else, and he's reluctant to kick it long, but there's nothing there. You've got to do something.
Well, the staggering,
and again, he's kicked it out there to
Brodie Spencer.
To Brodie Spencer, who's heading it on to nobody because we're too stretched.
Sweden have had 5 attempts, Northern Ireland 4. Both have had 2 on target. Sweden have scored their 2 chances on target.
Yeah, but as we said before the game, you know, the difference in the team is the centre forward. That's good play again. They're playing through us now.
Playing through Northern Ireland they are. Nygren scored the second goal, finding home, scored the first, and a good challenge by McNair.
Yeah, and he needed to cut that out as it's going across the 6-yard box.
Met it before it reached the front post in his pink boots behind for a corner kick to the hosts, who are looking to put this out of sight.
Yeah, I think this is where you need your experience in the team, you know, to try and somebody's got to get a grip of the game and you know and get the message across. Like we've got to change things here because it's not working. Now you don't have to keep hitting the ball long, but we've got to try and mix it up where we are, and sometimes we're not, because if you start hitting it long, they then will drop off, will not put us under so much pressure.
Well, quite a few defenders have moved into the box as well there, and it's a push in the back from Nanasi, who kicks the ball in anger after the fact.
I think he's a little bit annoyed. I think it was Devaney or was it Donnelly there? You know, he's calling him a little bit. He's threw his body across in front of him. I'm not sure if that's a free kick even, but Donnelly's done well there. You can see him. He's basically saying to the referee, I didn't really touch him, and I would have to agree.
And that blonde mop of hair held back with a hairband on Nanasi as he shakes his head at a rather nonplussed Scottish official.
There we are. We've had a long ball up to centre forward and we've won it. Now we've got them back on their 18-yard box.
Oh, it's a mistake for the keeper. His pass was a careless one, and Shea Charles side foot it, couldn't generate the power to beat him from distance.
You know, but what I've been saying, Michael, this is a long ball was knocked up the field. Price has won the header, knocked on. Put Selma under pressure. He puts it back to the goalkeeper. He gives it straight to Shea Charles. If he gets a better connection on that, you know, he's sent it into an empty net. So you know, you've got to take note of that and try and do it a little bit more.
Northern Ireland were stepping up, sensing blood, and the danger is at the other end of the pitch. Whilst defensively, there's definitely question marks around the Sweden defence. Offensively, no questions. They're very good.
Forward, but you find that on most teams now. Going forward, they're great. Defending, not so good. You know, we'll go back. We're talking about.
Oh, Sabo.
Give it away again.
He ran into a cul-de-sac there. It's not the position you want to be in, and then Price just forgot to kick the ball.
I've been saying that.
Hold that thought. Nanasi shaping to shoot, edge of the box, moves it left instead to Alexander Isak, back to Nanasi.
Oh, well played. Good play by McConville. Very confident there. The ball's bubbled up in the 6-yard box, and he had the confidence just to, you know, a nice gentle header into Pearce's hands. It's a good throw as well.
Finds Donnelly, who's well, you can't do that.
He's just been manhandled off the ball.
He showed good strength, Donnelly, took the ball, basically stuck his bum out and said, "You're not getting it off me," and Holmes said, "Well, I'm just going to pick you up." No, that doesn't quite work.
This is it, we're just seeing again, like, it just doesn't, it always...
Would have been off target, I think, anyway, the shot.
Would have been, yeah.
From Shea Charles, but... It was a half chance, wasn't it?
What we were saying, I mean, I think in today's games, more importance is put on players playing out from the back than defending. And you know, myself and Joel, and when we were talking about it, you know, we always say, you know, that the keys in the word is defending. Like, you know, you've got to defend, and as I say, I don't see a lot of good defenders around at the minute.
Pierce Charles with the free kick near the halfway line, helped on by the head of Kieran Brown. Northern Ireland not able to hold up play. With Sweden, well, they almost made a hash of that. Somehow that miss-kicked clearance has landed to one of their own, and Seletros can move it back to his defenders, and they can build once again.
Yeah, going forward, they're comfortable. Not so much when we put them under pressure, particularly in the, you know, in the middle of their back three, back four.
Lindelof, haven't mentioned him too much. Hasn't been too much down his side for him to deal with.
No, all our best plays gone on the right-hand side.
Expected to leave Manchester United this summer. Victor Lindelof, after 8 years, when his contract expires. Sweden trying to
They're just trying to knock it in behind Spencer there and let Holm away again, but he's won that header quite well. That's good play. Good play by Spencer. He blocked off the 1-2 and Holm wasn't able to get on the end of it.
Well, we've seen plenty of him getting forwards in recent games. He's had to do a lot more defensively tonight as Shea Charles, expansive pass from the centre over to the far wing. There's a good run on there.
Oh dear
Saville,
me, what a ball.
I think he'll get there.
What a
Devlin
ball.
gets there after the pass from Saville. Back he goes to Price. I wonder if there was a first-time pass on there. It's with George Saville, edge of the box. He's gone for goal. Oh! And he nearly scored it. It was a brilliant save from a flying Johansson to tip it over, and George Saville, who's still chasing his first goal for Northern Ireland. That would have been some way to get it.
Yeah, it was a great strike. Good play when it went from Devlin back to Price. He's picked out Saville, you know, about 5 or 6 yards outside the 18-yard box. He's tried to curl it into that top left-hand or right-hand corner of the goalkeeper, and he had to get there. That was going in.
Really, really good save.
Probably our best chance of the game.
Just pushing away the cobwebs with that.
Minute, yeah. Keeper's done well for them.
That is a good save. It's a reminder that 2-0 the scoreline at the moment, but should Northern Ireland find a goal before half-time, they will be buoyed.
Well, one goal. The next goal is going to decide what kind of game we have. If it goes to them, the game's over. If it goes to us, you know, we'll give ourselves a chance.
Is it going to come before the break for Northern Ireland? Shea Charles, near side, right foot, deep towards the far post. It's McNair who's over there.
You can see what they're trying to. You can see what they're trying to do, Michael. They're trying to hit it long to a man in the back post. Corner
taken quickly. Delivery wasn't good enough. Alexander Isak heading it away. Northern Ireland have the ball.
Is it really frustrating when they don't get it past the first man?
Shea Charles to Donnelly. Donnelly with a nutmeg. Shea Charles' shot is deflected.
Good play. Donnelly did well. He's nutmegged the defender. The shot's gone in. Hines got a touch on it. Could have went anywhere. It could have went in the goal. Unfortunately, it's gone out for a corner.
Much more like it from Northern Ireland to have raised it.
And again, it's come through playing the ball a lot quicker and getting forward a lot quicker. Corner
taken short to Saville, who gestures to Shea Charles, who makes the run. He goes far post.
Oh! How did he miss? He's headed it into the ground. All he had to do was head it straight into goal.
McConville, I thought he was going to score that one. It looked easier to score.
You're right, Michael. That's a sitter, an absolute sitter. Oh, he doesn't even hit the target.
Oh, a massive moment at the end of the half. We've, about 20 seconds until the 45 minutes are up.
The last 5 minutes have been on Northern Ireland. Well, it's down to the fact that we've started to get the ball up to them quicker. They put their back three under pressure and get us up the park. Because when we get up there, we're past it quite well. There we are again, putting them under pressure there. The referee doesn't know what. Oh, he's giving it's half-time.
It's the half-time whistle. Sweden heading off the pitch with a 2-goal advantage. Goals from Emil Holm and Benjamin Nygren, giving them, I'm sure, a very happy half-time team talk. Before we hand back to Joel and our punditry team, some final thoughts in this first 45 from you, John.
We started off okay, and then we give away two poor goals from our point of view. The first was a good goal from their point of view. The second was definitely a poor goal from our point of view. And we finished the game well, and we've got to take that on board and come out the second half and try and repeat what we've been doing the last 10 minutes, because we had two magnificent chances and really should have had at least one goal. But if you don't take them, you don't score. And as I said before, the difference is the quality they have up front, in front of goal.
So a matter of chances taken. Sweden have taken theirs at half-time. It is Sweden 2, Northern Ireland 0.
Thanks to John, thanks to Michael. Keith Gillespie and George McCartney are keeping me company. They've been watching the first half. We'll get their thoughts in a moment or two. But just after 6:45, let's get the latest BBC News.
BBC News NI on Radio Ulster and on BBC Sounds.
Good evening, I'm Mimi Murray. three men from Londonderry have admitted possessing a document which claimed responsibility for the attempted murder of Detective Chief Inspector John Caldwell in 2023. The senior police officer was seriously injured when he was shot in front of children by dissident Republicans at a sports complex in Omagh. Our reporter Kelly Bonner has more details.
Well, the three men, all from Derry, are Keelan Robert Brogan, who's 25, from Bluebill Hill Gardens in the Brandywell. Then we have 27-year-old Tiernan McFadden from Kernhill, and a third man who cannot be named for legal reasons. They've all been charged with the count of possessing a document claiming responsibility. Now, a non-jury trial was to begin on Tuesday, but before the Crown opened its case, defence barristers asked that the three men be rearraigned on that count. Now, the three men were also charged with one count of electronically transmitting the contents of the document, but that charge will now be left on the books. Judge Kerr said he would now review this case on the 19th of May and set a timeline for sentencing, and the three defendants were granted continuing bail.
The White House says Russia and Ukraine have agreed to stop attacks on shipping in the Black Sea. It said both sides had committed to giving safe passage to vessels and pausing strikes on energy facilities. But the Kremlin says safe shipping will only be enforced once sanctions are lifted from Russian banks involved in international trade in food and fertilisers. President Trump and his intelligence chiefs have played down a mistake in which a journalist was invited onto a messaging group where he saw plans for a US attack in Yemen. The US president said it was a glitch and that he stood by his national security advisor Michael Waltz, who added the journalist to the group. John Bolton held that position during the first Trump administration. He said it was a terrible error of judgment.
There is a place for a group chat, and it's called the Situation Room. The idea that this was even set up, and that all of these people who have senior level responsibilities to preserve and protect classified information, and nobody ever thought of saying, this may not be the best way to proceed, is just inexplicable to me.
The National Crime Agency is warning that sadistic, violent online gangs of teenaged boys are targeting girls as young as 11 for physical and sexual abuse. Reports from technology companies relating to young men using so-called comm networks increased sixfold between 2022 and 2024, involving thousands of users and victims. And the weather. Plenty of clear spells tonight, but local mist and fog forming too. Overnight lows of 0 to 3 degrees. Tomorrow will be largely dry with patchy cloud and sunny spells. Highs of 12 to 15 degrees. BBC News.
A family like few others.
The Kinahans were street dealers who became billionaires.
Dublin's deadliest.
They would have been considered as gangland royalty.
And one of the world's most wanted.
You're in the league of Pablo Escobar.
A Celtic cartel with global ambition.
This emerging new generation of narcos.
Cops all over the world want to be the guy that gets that head up on their wall.
Kinahan, the true story of Ireland's mafia. Starts Monday at 10:40 on BBC One Northern Ireland and iPlayer.
This is Sportsound International Football. Listen live on digital, online or on BBC Sounds.
Yes, welcome back. So half-time score in Stockholm is Sweden 2, Northern Ireland 0. A reminder that Tommy Wright's under-21s have won the final game of their training camp. They beat Uzbekistan 1-0. Francis Turley scored the only goal of the game. Keith Gillespie and George McCartney, former internationals, both of them have been watching the game with me here in the studio. So Keith, we'll start with the first goal. Alexander Isak, who of course we all knew about. We spoke about him before the game. You've seen a lot of him. It's great play from him, but defensively, could we have done better?
I think so. I mean, first and foremost, it's a great run. Isak's feet, I've seen him about 6 or 7 times live this season at Newcastle, and he's got such great feet for such a big player. We maybe get attracted to Isak and don't realise where the other players are in the box. Brodie Spencer probably is guilty of that the most, because effectively it's his man that's actually scored. He goes narrow, doesn't he? He does. He's kind of sucked in, but then one pass takes 6 defenders out of the game. Yeah, but I mean that's Isak for you. That's how good he is. And John said it. A lot of strikers there would have been selfish trying to get the shot in. you know, it's great awareness for him that he sees Holm, I think it was, and to be fair to him, it was a good finish as well.
Right, George. So you're playing on the left side of the let's cast our mind back all those years when you could move. So you're playing the left side of that defence. At the very start of the move, you see Brodie Spencer has a look over his shoulder and he sees Holm, and then Brown, when he's running back, he points out towards Holm as well. But is it an instinctive thing when you see Isak moving across the goal from left to right and the ball's on his right foot and everybody's kind of lining up to try and block a shot? Is it almost second nature or instinctive that you think, right, well, I'm going to join in? And that little move to become a bit more narrow just gives the space for Holm, and he's able then to tuck it away. It's a split-second decision, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's as a defender, you're probably trying to help each other out, help your teammates out, but you've also got to be aware of what's around you. You know, your surroundings, runners, and we've just switched off, lost a bit of concentration, got attracted to the ball, and the players run off us.
At one point then, as a defender, are you thinking, well, I'm going to make sure Holm doesn't score and the other 5 should be able to deal with Isak? Or is that overly simplistic?
No, but we talked about how important Isak was at the start of the game. He's a big player. You maybe have one person goes to defend him, one covering him, but unfortunately for us, I think we had 4 or 5 covering the one player. No, again, our body shapes may be wrong. No, we've all got attracted to Isak and we've left the free man at the back post. But no, Brodie's tucked in. He's thinking, as Isak's cut back, he's maybe going to shift it again inside. I'm here to block the shot. At the very worst, as a defender, no, you're told to narrow off, force it wide, but unfortunately in the box, no, it's a hard one to deal with.
Yes.
In terms of where the player was who scored the goal.
Yeah.
No, he's
8 yards out, isn't he?
He's more or less in front of the goal. So,
yeah.
Yes, Brodie is thinking narrow off. He's actually going to get the shot off, but he's maybe had a wee bit of disguise on the pass. It's a lovely way to pass, and no, you were thinking after the first touch, the keeper made it get out to close it down, but unfortunately, it was a good finish.
It's a good finish, and he tucks it away nicely. The goalkeeper's then unlucky, isn't he, for the second one, because it's a ball. But you mentioned very early in the game, Keith, you were thinking to yourself, Terry Devlin's not going to need to be rocked to sleep tonight. He's going to have a busy night. There was so much coming down Sweden's left-hand side, our right-hand side, and again, it's a good move. Ball's fizzed across the box. Keeper doesn't know what's kind of behind him. He goes down to try and block it, and he pushes it out into the path of Nygren, and it's a simple tap away for him, isn't it?
Yep. He's looked very lively, the left winger. Sam, I think it is.
Yeah, from Paphos.
Yes.
You were saying he was at Watford for a while, was he?
Yeah, he's just gone to Paphos in January there, so he's looked very lively, and Terry Devlin stuck at his task well, but it wasn't him who put the ball in for the goal. I think it was Gudmundsson. I think he's just ran off somebody, and we haven't sort of tracked our runners. Pierce Charles is unfortunate, because if he actually doesn't get a hand out, nobody gets on the end of it, but unfortunately he does, and it's just a simple tap in. But I mean, that goal was preventable. I mean, the first one is as well, but you can't take away from the bit of skill from Isak. That's why you. So
the second goal would annoy you more than the first goal?
Yeah, absolutely. I know there's like 4 or 5 around Isak, but we've seen him do that in the Premier League. Mm-hmm. So we know he's capable of that. But yeah, the second one is definitely avoidable.
The positive, George, is that defensively Sweden don't look good at all. I mean, even from the opening minutes, they presenting possession to Northern Ireland in their own half of the pitch. The goalkeeper's given one to Shea Charles in the first half that he's tried to knock straight back into the goal first time. They don't look like a team that will not give you encouragement or give you chances. That's the one thing that you'd be saying in the Northern Ireland dressing room at half time.
Yeah, and that's how they're trying to build up all the time through the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper has looked very nervous. He's tried to play out a couple of times, and he's passed it straight to us. I think at the start of the game we were trying to press quite high up the pitch. Maybe with Michael's instructions, he spotted that with Sweden. They'll try and play out. They don't like being pressurised. We can nick the ball higher up. But what comes with that there when we're pressing high from the front, and then obviously our midfield's higher, our defensive line's higher, and it does lead to threat of if Sweden if they can't play through the lines, then
let Isak chase one.
That direct ball over the top. Where
there was one of those where was a borderline offside, wasn't there, for Isak?
Yeah, and if you think even the first goal probably came from that as well, because we started really on the front foot. The first 5-6 minutes by pressing from the front, and I wouldn't say our defensive line was that high, but it was high enough where Isak was able to to run along, check his run, and get in behind what led to the first goal. But I would say they take chances. So again, if we're confident, we're too behind now, so we might as well try and keep pressing from the front, because they are definitely giving up chances, and we have had 2 or 3 really good opportunities to put the ball in the net. We've had Spencer had a great opportunity inside the box.
Great move down the left hand side, wasn't it?
And Shea Charge had one as well, was blocked and went out for the corner. But probably the best chance of the first half was Brown's header at the back post.
McConville.
Was it McConville? It was a great ball in, and if we're being honest, he's got the score there.
Well, you two, you were off your seats, Keith. You were ready for the celebration at the back post, and he's headed it wide. I mean, it's a glorious chance.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones coming into the box. Your
eyes,
your eyes just are wide open.
Like one of your crosses, Keith, back in the day, wasn't it?
I don't know about that. But yeah, your eyes wide open, thinking this is dropping or this is coming to me, and he just hasn't got enough on it. He should score, but the last 6-7 minutes, that first half has given us a bit of belief, because it's a game now where the next goal decides what's happening. It's either a simple victory if they get it, or else it's game on if we do. So we have had a few chances there. George Saville as well had a great effort. Hard to believe, that he hasn't scored, but we thought that was the moment.
George Saville, after tonight's cap, Keith, is now 5th on the list of outfield players with most appearances who haven't scored. Of course, Mal Donaghy is number 1 on that list, with his 91 caps.
Yep.
And no goals. But George Saville tonight moves up to 5th place on that list. Another one, of course, of a more recent vintage was Chris Bird, who never got to score a senior. But he did
get an own goal.
We got an own goal. I remember a night he did score, and it was disallowed. I think from memory it was a header from a corner, and he headed it, and the assistant referee said the ball had gone out of play and back in again.
Right, yeah.
And the goal was disallowed. Chris Bird got the 79 caps without scoring a goal. So George Saville still looking for that goal. The Brodie Spencer goal, or the Brodie Spencer shot, actually reminded me. The build-up wasn't the same, but the angle of the shot was similar to the goal Kyle Lafferty scored in the 1-1 draw the last time we played, when he bent one into the top corner. And you both played that night, didn't you?
I was suspended.
You were suspended. Oh, dearie me. Those referees. So many decisions wrong. Right, he's not suspended for the rest of tonight, so we'll hear from him after the game, and George as well. 2-0 down. Let's see what the second half has to offer in the company of John O'Neill and Michael Clark.
Thank you, Joel. Play back underway. Sweden 2, Northern Ireland 0, and the ball immediately going back to the Northern Ireland's goalkeeper Piers Charles, and there's a coming together, so there'll be a stoppage immediately. Doesn't appear to be any changes at this point, John O'Neill.
No, I don't think there's been any substitutes at all, Michael.
All those talk of players who went a long time without scoring an own goals. The Chris Bird own goal was the Latvia game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that came in the campaign against Sweden.
That's right. Yeah.
Did look a sore coming together between Devlin, who, by the way, sprung up immediately, and Gudmundsson, who stayed down a moment.
To me, that's not a foul. The two players have gone up and, challenged for the ball, and the Swede has won it. But
well, back underway. We've almost a minute play to this second half. It'll be interesting to see how Sweden approach it from here. Will they start to, use as an option to get other players on, or are they going to try? I think
they will eventually, Michael, but I think more important is how do we approach it. We've got to try and get forward a lot quicker. Oh, it's unfortunate.
Saville slipped.
As we were clearing our lines there.
Well, he's got it back here. There was a foul, and Northern Ireland are going to get a free kick now. It was a little foot that caught Kieran Brown as he stepped out from the back.
Yeah, the referees let the play go to see if there was an advantage, but none accrued there, so he's brought it back for the free kick.
Devaney on his first start, playing a lovely ball. 10 yards through the middle, touched back inside now with Shea Charles, who moves it to the left-hand side, where Spencer is being put under quick pressure, a tight squeeze from home.
Yeah, he needs to move it a little bit quicker there. It was good play to cross the field. Charles strokes a lovely ball out to Spencer, but he just takes too long.
Sweden's keeper comes out and is able to gather. Just to remind you then of the team that Michael O'Neill has gone for tonight. Pierce Charles in goals, a defence of Brown, McConville and McNair. Spencer and Devlin flanking them. Saville and Shea Charles sitting deep in midfield, and ahead of them Devaney and Price with Donnelly in attack. And Sweden's team of Johansson, Lindelof, Heinen, Gudmundsson, Hall, Mayari, Soletros, Nanasi and Sema, and Negrin and Isak in the attack. Home and Negrin the goal scorers. I think Isak is going to be offside here. Yeah, was waiting for that flag.
I don't know why he waited so long. He was blatantly offside.
They like the player to touch the ball, John.
It's a strange one, you know. It really is strange.
Drives you crazy, doesn't it?
You know the flag is coming, but...
Yep, he was well beyond the last man when the ball was played, but until he touches it, who knows what could happen.
Well, true. Yeah.
Anyway, Northern Ireland get on with the free kick, and it's back again with their keeper. I just wonder what the half-time chat was in their changing room. You've had chances, you know.
I don't think they'll be too bothered the way the game's going. You know, they've been a bit ropey at the back at times, but I would say, you know, most of the discussion would have been on the Northern Ireland's changing room. But
good link-up play here. Donnelly tried to go for
to get the pass through there,
a through ball which didn't come, and a long ball forward frees up. But that's what I'm thinking about the Northern Ireland team talk. What would they have been saying?
I would have been saying, you know, that you've got to play quicker. You know, you've got to get the ball forward quicker. Because when we did it, particularly in the last 5 or 10 minutes, we created chances, and they looked a little bit suspect at the back.
Northern Ireland tidying things up, and McNair back once more to Charles, who, the goalkeeper, able to coolly move it across to the right side of their defence, and McNair to McConville, and back again to the keeper.
Yeah, it's this possession game that everybody seems to want to play. I mean, I don't mind possession, but surely, he's hit it long this time to nobody, and that's unlike Pierce Charles.
Yeah, he was rushing the kick without there being the support.
Exactly right, Michael. He's rushed the kick, and if you decide that you're going to kick it, the team has got to respond to that and push up towards the halfway line and try and squeeze the play. And whether they win it or whether we win it, go for the second ball and try and play in their half.
Plenty of Northern Ireland fans will look back nostalgically. Some incredible games in that European qualifying run for the 2008 tournament, finishing just behind Sweden. But obviously the Spain game is the match that everybody talks about. Healy getting 13 goals.
Yeah.
Northern Ireland looking for a goal here through Donnelly. Not a bad idea for the pass inside the box, but again, Sweden read it.
Price has got to be on his toes there and be ready for it. He wasn't expecting the pass at all. It wasn't a bad ball.
One thing to point out is it's not the same stadium. The Rosunda Stadium was demolished back in 2013 as Sweden look for a way for another goal, and Isak ends up with a side netting. The shot from the edge of the box from Negrin, looking for his second. Well saved by Pierce Charles.
It was a great save. I mean, it's a great run, a great ball into Negrin. He just makes himself a yard of space, gets the shot in. And this time Charles makes the saves and he pushes it out of the danger zone, and I think it might have been Isak that was coming in, only could hit the side net. And a great break by them, a quick break, but good goalkeeping,
and done so quickly and almost effortlessly.
Yeah, I mean, it's good players. You see a pass and play it quickly.
That clearly will be the concern for Northern Ireland these friendlies. Done with that in mind.
Devlin's got to do better there. It's a brilliant ball.
Well, let's see what progresses, because Sweden have lost the ball. Donnelly, Shea Charles, he's pulled it back. It's just behind Price, and he's challenged it. The touch takes it off home. Northern Ireland will have the throw, but a better ball would have brought about a goal.
They caught them in possession inside their own half. You know, it was a good break. The cross come over from Shea Charles. Unfortunately, it just gets behind everybody, and we just couldn't get on the end of it. But again, you know, win it in their half, quick 1-2, and you've got a chance.
Little glimpses of Donnelly's awareness, what he can do looking forwards, and the passes he can find.
I think when we can get into the final third, we're causing them problems. I know this is going to be a long throw as well.
Kieran Brown, trademark long throw. Sweden had two men on him.
Wasn't his best.
Oof. Well, he's been clattered there. Took a touch, moved to pass. I think it was Home.
Yeah, it was a poor challenge by Holmes. The ball's come to him. Browns did well, just flicked it past him. And to be fair, it's not a bad free kick to give away, because Brown was certainly in behind them.
Yeah, you'd need to be on the back of a horse, I think, to hurdle that challenge. Leg was quite high up in the air. He was making sure his man wasn't getting around him. Brown hit the deck. Northern Ireland have a free kick. Edge of the box. Shea Charles facing it down. Plenty of green jerseys inside. Just at the side of the box. It's gone for a goal. It's rippled the top of the net, but was watched over all the way by Johansson.
Yeah, he went for it. I think everybody was expecting the cross, but he definitely had a go at it. Just a little bit too high. Probably not enough pace on it either. It would have been comfortable for Johansson, I think, had it been on target. But look at this. I mean,
you're not even Swedish and you're nervous watching that. They're playing it round their back again, and they've given it away.
You know, this is crazy.
I'll pass inside.
They just got too close there. I think it was
Price and Donnelly. And now Sweden coming forward. Nanasi.
See how quick they've passed it.
Isak, left side at goal, moves inside the box, tried to just slot the pass inside. Devlin saw it coming, got the block, cleared it out, throw in Sweden.
Defensively, Devlin's been very good, and he's had to be.
Deft touch. Finds Saletros.
Offside.
He was just offside, yeah. Good line for Northern Ireland's defence, but some very good attacking play from Sweden.
Yeah, once they get the ball in, just inside their own half, they play it very quickly, and their passing is good, their support play is good, and we've sort of had to defend it. It was settled down a little bit. We're getting a lot of joy, and we were looking at the stats, Michael, at half-time. I mean, I think they had a lot more possession than they did against Switzerland, but obviously Sweden still had more of the possession, but we had more shots on target. They've had 2 shots on target and scored 2 goals. We've had 4 on target and haven't scored yet.
Brody Spencer going close, and then that header at the end of the half from McConville. Sweden 2, Northern Ireland 0, still the score as we near 55 minutes, almost 10 gone in this second half, as neither manager has made a change just yet. And yeah, this stadium is the same one that Ajax and Manchester United played the Europa League final in 2017 in, so maybe some Northern Ireland fans will know it from that. It was back then called the Friends Arena. It's changed name a couple of times since it was built. But that old stadium, the Rosunda, hosted a World Cup final back in 1958.
Brilliant piece of play.
Quick free kick taken by Northern Ireland. Devlin, he's fast. He got a toe on that. And Johansson's just about able to stop it from going out for the corner.
I think they've taken it too quickly. I think he's given the free kick. Or have they?
The referee blew his whistle. We're all watching to see what was going on. Maybe he did take it a little too quickly. Maybe he wanted a word with Lindelof, who landed on the back of Price.
I'm not sure what's going on there, because we took the free kick and then all of a sudden he started to blow the whistle. I don't know what that was for.
I think Price just took a moment to get up. Maybe the referee thought
he was
injured. He needed
a
minute, but he didn't.
They got away with that again.
Anyway, Sweden restart play. Nanasi. A little pass beyond McConville. Northern Ireland with lots of green shirts back defending. They're sitting very deep.
Yeah,
Nanasi.
The Swedes are moving very well off the ball as well.
Thought Nanasi might have been fouled there. Referee took a different view. Northern Ireland play on. They also play a very high defensive line, Sweden. Deveni Gets his head up, looks for Price. He's flicked it outside of the boot. He might be offside. He is.
It's terrible. I mean, that's terrible from Price. I mean, he's done all the hard work. You know, he takes the ball coming across the field, and he lays it back lovely to Brodie Spencer, but he doesn't get himself back onside when he receives the pass again and lets him off the hook.
That will frustrate Northern Ireland without question. Gudmundsson of Sweden on the ball. Ball's been flicked to the wing, and Sema, as Keith Gillespie was saying, went to Cyprus at the end of the January window. Ball round the corner for Isak. Little dummy, moves at one side and another. Kieran Brown
did well. Just got a toe poke on it. It was enough. That's not foul.
Terry Devlin stood still. Player ran into him, and Nanasi has bought the free kick.
Yeah, I mean, football's getting to the stage now, Michael, where you can't touch players. You know, there can't be any physical challenge at all. Well, maybe it was a little bit of a block after that when you see it up close.
To be fair,
in real time, it didn't look that bad.
Maybe the referee got that one right. The replay shows Devlin did certainly use a bit more force. So Nanasi, now that he's got wind back in his lungs, he's back up. Isak in the centre, and Charles trying to get his wall right. Just shimmying the two-man wall a little bit. It's an in-swinger, it's off the post. I think it was Nygren. And it's Sema who finishes it off. He reacted quickest. And Sweden have their third goal of the night. With 59 gone.
Gone to sleep at a set piece again. I mean, the ball's whipped in, you know, near post, and everybody's moved. All the yellows are on the move. We stood still. We get the first initial touch, puts it onto the post. We think we've got away from it. It comes back out to Sema, and he absolutely buries it. It's a great finish, but you know, I tell you what. I mean, I don't know if they'll look at this again. But is he offside? It's difficult to see. You know, I'm not sure if...
no VAR tonight, so...
No, I'm just trying to see if we get a replay here, because it looked as if Nygren might have been offside. He might have went a little bit too early. And we know they're standing there with their arms up, but... we'll see if we can get another look at this here.
Well, the goal will stand, of course, because there is no
VAR, no
VAR in international friendlies.
Again, you know, you can't afford to allow players to come off you there and, you know, so close to goal.
Well, they called him King Ken at Vicarage Road. He was standing with a big smile on his face after reacting quickest to volley in, as all the Northern Ireland heads craned round to see where the ball would go after it came back off the post.
Well, there was a lot of bodies in there, Michael, and to be fair to him, he drilled it right through every one of them.
Looking to be a very good night for Sweden and their manager Jon Dahl Tomasson, on their way to their 7th win in 12 games under him.
Yeah. Well, we knew there was going to be a response after that. You know, you wonder how Luxembourg ever beat them 1-0, but you knew that there was going to be a response. But I mean, I think what it highlights for me is that, you know, we cannot afford to have our best players, you know, the quality of the players that we have not available for us tonight. It really puts us behind the 8 ball, and it's a bit of head tennis going on here tonight.
Yeah, just saw a glimpse of Michael O'Neill, who is not a happy camper, unsurprisingly, at 3-0 down.
Well, I think he'll learn certain things from here as well. You know, I think he knows, obviously we keep saying it, you know, the quality of the players that are not available. You know, for us to qualify out of any sort of group, we have to have those players available. And I think, you know, maybe marks his cards about, you know, one or other 2 players who are maybe not ready yet.
Donnelly, he did well there. He had 2 players around him, and he dropped the shoulder. And Hine shows you the confidence he's playing with now. The centre back, who's halfway inside Northern Ireland's half during open play, but he clattered Donnelly. Northern Ireland get the free kick, get on with it. Donnelly,
you can't lose it there.
That's a bit careless. Negrin just got stuck under his boot as he tried to bring it under control.
We were lucky there on the edge 18-yard box. He just miscontrolled it.
Well, Northern Ireland have scored plenty of goals in recent times, 19 in their last 12. They, even just to take the look off the game and change the complexion a little bit, would love to find at least one here, but despite their chances, haven't been able to do that as of yet. Sweden have been the clinical side.
Yeah, we're back to walking place. We're doing the same thing again. Pierce charged with the ball to 18-yard box. How often have we seen this?
Well, you like to think that come the time of the World Cup qualifiers in September after the June friendlies, Northern Ireland will have a much stronger squad to pick from when they are playing against the likes of Germany.
Yeah, you're definitely going to need them, you know. And if you're hoping to, well played, good header.
Paddy McNair.
Yeah, he did well. Isak's just, you know,
on the shoulder of the last man, wasn't he?
If he makes a mistake there, he's in.
Paddy McNair was able to steer the header the opposite way from which he was running, which isn't easy. Northern Ireland, a little higher up the pitch, have been fouled. Shea Charles rolls it short to Donnelly, who's come deep to receive it, and Brown now over on the far side, and no room up the touchline for Spencer. Has to make do with a throw-in.
Now, when you look at the World Cup group, you know, realistically, you got to think, you know, winning the groups beyond us. Having said that, we know we can dig out results, you know, when least expected. But even if you were to beat Germany, you know, you have to make sure that you go through the remainder of the group, not giving anything away. So realistically, you got to think, excuse me, that you're looking at runner-up spot. And I know Michael would be thinking that when you look at, you know, the quality of the opposition that you're facing, I can't see any reason, if we can get our best side out on the park, that we can't achieve that second spot.
Yeah, that group with Germany, Slovakia and Luxembourg begins on the 4th of September away to Luxembourg, and then 3 days later away to Germany. I'm sure some Northern Ireland fans who went early and booked their flights were getting a bit nervy when they saw the Italians pull 3 goals back on Sunday, but Germany able to hold on. Isak, he's gone from distance. It's a wonderful goal. It's a wonderful goal from 25 yards. It is the definition of a rocket, and it's blazed past Charles. It's 4-0 to Sweden, and that is comfortably the pick of the bunch.
Yeah, that's a great goal, but again, Michael, we've given it away inside our own half. The ball goes to, you know, Isak. He doesn't mess about. It's as good a goal as Price scored. Same sort of strike. I mean, as soon as he left it, you know this is going into the goal. But you know, a poor pass, give the ball away. He takes 2 touches, sees where the goal is, bang. He's some player. He is a great player.
Some goals you dissect, some you just have to appreciate.
Yeah, you know, he's got an eye for goal. He gives him half a chance, and he takes it. You know, and I don't know how much they're looking for. They're looking at 80, 100 million, but that.
I think it's just gone up.
Yeah, well, you know, people say, oh, he's only scoring goals against, you know, Northern Ireland, who aren't the best of sides. But you know, when you strike a ball like that, I don't care what anybody says. No goalkeeper's going to save that.
Eddie Howe's unplugged the phone, I believe.
This is unfortunate. You know, 4-0. You know, I think it flatters Sweden a little bit. I think they're more mistakes than their great goals. I mean, the strike and, you know, the way he took the goal was excellent, but I mean, we've given the ball, like, you know, 20 yards outside our 18-yard box. You can't do that against players of that quality.
Well, Northern Ireland have the ball back. What do they do? Well, let's see if Sweden can go any further. They're trying to rub salt in the wounds now. They've won it back through Lindelof. He's trying to move inside Northern Ireland's box. Home. Keep ball now for the hosts, who really have the bit between their teeth, and Northern Ireland reeling after conceding that 4th goal. Sema, score of 1, finding home score of another, and Lindelof will keep this alive. They have almost all of their outfield players within 25 yards of Northern Ireland's goal, and Shea Charles with a frustrated challenge into the back of Isak.
Yeah, it's just frustration there. He's not too happy. I mean, and to be honest, if I was Eddie Howe, I'd be ringing the Swedish bench and getting Isak off now. You know, I don't see any reason to keep him out there. because that was a sore one. He's got him right in the back of the ankle. Well, we've still got, what, 24 minutes to go?
Yeah. Neither manager has made a change yet. Sweden with 2 goals either half.
Yeah.
And don't have to be relenting. Isak, well, he was outnumbered. He still nearly made it work. He lost his balance.
You know, he got a great first touch. Just couldn't get the ball out from underneath his feet, otherwise that would have been another one.
Well, when you look at the teams that he has tortured this season, Alexander Isak, an understrength Northern Ireland defence is hardly a surprise, really, with the greatest respect to everybody involved. When, you know, seeing goals against Arsenal, Chelsea, teams of that calibre, as Northern Ireland now do dip to the bench. Terry Devlin's going to come off for Jordan Thompson, and Callum Marshall is
Devlin had to work hard. You know, I'm sure he's feeling tired. Thompson will come in there and do a stint in the middle of the park, try and shore things up a little bit.
It's going to be George Saville coming off for Marshall.
Yeah.
Might just mean a bit of a change in shape potentially.
Well, you know, I think at the end of the day, it's, you know, trying to damage limitation a little bit.
Michael O'Neill is wearing out the chewing gum on the touchline. Stone-faced, staring on. Donnelly, it's off target. Well, if it was on target, it would be a goal, because Johansson was lost at sea.
He'd wandered there, hadn't he? He'd gone right over to the right-hand side. I don't know whether he was expecting the ball to come all the way through to him, but centre half, you know, gets a header and drops to Donnelly. He hits it first time, and again, if he had had the pace in the direction, the goalkeeper wouldn't get back in time.
Well, for the Northern Ireland fans that have made the journey, it would give them something to cheer for in what has ended up being a bit of a chastening night in Stockholm. It is a friendly. It's a game that managers look to learn from. It's not the end of the world, but nobody likes to lose with this sort of scoreline.
But at the end of the day, as we said before the game started, Michael, the difference in the two teams is that they've got a £100 million striker up front.
Well, that's
a booking.
Going to be a yellow card, and it's gone to Soletros. He has grabbed the jersey of Charles who's got the other side of him.
Yeah, he's grabbed the jersey and the arm and everything. He wasn't letting them go.
Tell you what, it's a great advert for whoever prints the numbers these days. They remember these to come off dead easily. I mean, he's given that a good old yank, and it hasn't torn or anything. And they're queuing up on the edge of the box, but it's a free kick, maybe 10 yards inside the Swedish half, so it's a long way for this ball to travel.
Way out. Yeah, it's a long way.
Comes in, McConville. Was it McConville got the touch on that? I thought it was.
Yeah, they were claiming it's come off the back of a Swedish defender, but the referees just give a goal kick, and they're trying to break quickly here.
Goal kick was what was given, so 20 minutes to go. Sweden have got the job done here with time to spare, so they're going to make some changes. Players warming up for them. They've got Eliasson and Alanga prepared to be introduced. No shortage of quality amongst their subs. Spencer appears to be on the right side of defence, at least for the moment. Has Thompson maybe gone into the left side?
I'm trying to work out if they switched him over to the right. And they're taking home off then.
Yeah. He's applauding, getting a good reception from the home support. And Alanga, who is having a really good season with Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, not a bad sub to be bringing on, is it?
Well, Newcastle tried to sign him from Forest of a bid of, I think it was 50 million. If they do sell their striker, they'll have a bit more money, and Nottingham Forest will ask for a bit more money. We'll see how that one goes potentially.
Eliasson's come on there, Michael. I couldn't pick up who went off.
And the other player to go off is Nanasi. By process of elimination, of missing the blonde hair out there. So they're the two changes for the hosts, who have the ball, and Isak remains on the pitch. The ball arrives at Alanga. His first involvement is to find Sema. They've space on the far side. Sema's gone a little greedy. He's wanted the shot, and Northern Ireland just about get rid of it.
Brown made a great tackle on the edge of the 18-yard box.
Northern Ireland struggling to get out. Every time they clear it, it's straight back to Sweden, who bring another yellow wave of attack.
Yeah, it's easy for them now. Passing the ball at their leisure now, picking out good passes. Players are still making good runs for them.
Nicholas Eliasson plays for AEK Athens these days, former Bristol City player. Made his international debut last June in a friendly away against Denmark. This is his 8th cap.
That's good play. Picking up everything now.
Gets it back to Isak. He's one-on-one with Brown. Northern Ireland, I mean, they're putting
just
everyone around him.
Off him. No.
It's incredible how well he shields the ball, and continues to look dangerous when he does it. Some players are defending the ball and you think, well, I've got him away from goal. Isak's constantly dangerous. Around 17 minutes of normal time left as Spencer, now on this right side, retrieves possession for Northern Ireland, and Shea Charles goes back to McNair, goes back to Pierce Charles, and he plays it into the middle. But Sweden seem to have had Northern Ireland's number tonight, really, not giving them too much joy.
Well, considering they're 4-0 up, Sweden are still working very hard as well.
Might give you an idea as to just how disappointed they were to lose to Luxembourg. The last time Sweden and Luxembourg played was back in 2017, and Sweden beat them 8-0.
You keep asking yourself, well, what were they doing on Friday night? Or was it? Might have been Saturday night, I'm not sure. But what were they doing against Luxembourg that Luxembourg beat them? I know Luxembourg have improved quite a bit over the years, relatively, but.
Well, you made a good point about Sweden in friendlies versus Sweden in competitive games.
Totally different team.
Still something the manager's maybe trying to instill in them.
Yeah, we gone through periods as well where we didn't have great results in friendlies, but we were able to turn it on when the big games come around. I'm sure most managers would rather have you play like that all the time, but it just doesn't work like that.
That's why managers always look so stressed, John.
Exactly.
They can't understand you players. Oh, Brown's done well to intervene as the ball was almost through to Nygren. He's got it now, played it back. Sweden, lots of bodies around the edge of the box. Good. Munson takes the shot.
Yeah, that's a centre-half shot there, isn't it?
Well, I'm glad you said that.
He's dragged it along the ground.
Well wide. With 15 minutes to go. Well, they all want in on the act now, don't they?
Yeah, well, for centre forwards or for any forwards, when you're 4-0 up and the opposition aren't playing that particularly well, it's not a bad game to, increase your goal rate. I mean, the game's we're playing at a walking pace here at the minute, and it's difficult to see where we're going to get any joy at all.
Well, you have to go back to the defeat in Sofia to Bulgaria for the last time Northern Ireland lost without scoring. Of course, the Belarus game was a scoreless draw as well, but goals have been easier to come by.
There again, we've just given the ball away in our own half, and we'll be lucky if we get away with this.
Definitely tiring legs out there for Northern Ireland as McConville gets the block in. Might be heading for another 90 minutes. Got them against Luxembourg.
Again, I know we're tiring as well because we had a tough shift the other night, but this is too easy at the minute.
And the ball from Soletros has found a way to Eliasson, and it's Alanga, and it's 5. And he celebrates by pointing to his badge and getting a hug with Isak.
We knew that was coming again. We're giving the ball away in our own half, and it's crazy that we're doing that. And we're still trying to play out from the back. I don't understand this at all. We're getting bumped here. We're not trying to change it at all. They're still working very hard for a team that's now 5 up and not giving us any chance to play out from the back. But I mean, this is we've gone to sleep again. It's a great move for them from the corner, but when the cross comes over, look, Elanga's run off. I'm not sure who that is. It's Marshall.
Yeah, it's Callum Marshall.
He just let him go. He just runs off him. I mean, it's not as if he doesn't see him. He sees him, but he just doesn't mark him. And he's mishit it actually, and it's gone in. But poor defending. I think that's probably the most disappointing thing. That some of the goals, our defending has been very, very poor. And Smith has just come on.
He's come on for Spencer.
Yeah.
Just whilst we were analysing that, they made the change. But yeah, very preventable. And Brad Lyons has come on for Devaney as well. As has Lee Bonus for Donnelly. So Michael O'Neill ringing the changes in response, with a further 3 made there.
Oh, we just want to see the final whistle now.
Yeah, it's ended up being a long night.
It has, yeah.
And very preventable goals, which will, I'm sure, frustrate Michael O'Neill no end.
Yeah, I mean, I think as players, the players involved have got to sit down and have a look at this. You can't give players that room and space at this level, particularly not a team like Sweden. Have got class, particularly up front. Well, I mean, like when you look at the goals, McConville doesn't pick up the man that's running off. The last goal, Marshall just lets the player run off him, doesn't pick up. It's poor defending.
Well, he's in total made 5 changes from the team that started the game, so we'll see whether that improves anything or whether it's more disjointed, because sometimes that can be a difficulty as well.
The game's gone. It's got no shape nor form as far as Northern Ireland's concerned, but at the end of the day, I know it might sound stupid to say it, but the game means nothing to me, and it meant nothing at the start. I mean, it would have been a boost of confidence that we had put in a good result, maybe got a draw or something, but in the grand scheme of things, we know we have to have the quality of players in our side that are missing tonight, and if we don't, we're going to be way off the pace.
And Michael O'Neill will hope that results like this are limited to friendly games.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, Sweden knocking it around at the back, losing the ball, and Smith just couldn't keep it in.
The one thing you can always say about Northern Ireland's side, they're going to give you 100% in terms of effort and whatnot. It's just, the little things about not picking players up if they don't see the run and they don't see the danger. There's not a lot you can do about that.
So, Jager Belke, Karlström and Zanelli are the players who are coming on. Ayari is the first to make way to allow the player on loan at FC20, Jager Belke, to come on. Saletros is the player who is off for Karlström, and Zanelli is on for Hein. So Zanelli, who plays his football in Sweden with Elfsborg, made his international debut at the weekend.
You've done well there, Michael.
Well, Zanelli's an interesting character because obviously now a Swedish international as of the weekend, but his older brother played 33 times for Kosovo, had quite a high profile fallout,
right,
and then he, having come through Kosovo's youth ranks, pretty much said, well, I'm not playing for you either. He's now playing for Sweden, which is where both of them were born.
Yeah.
So fully fledged Swede. It does happen. There's plenty of examples throughout football of brothers playing for different countries.
But and actually getting the names of all the people who've gone on and off, I think you've done well.
Thank you. See if they're still inking this pen by the end of it all. We've got about 9 minutes to go. I'll be hoping I've no more goals to scribble out for the home side, if I'm allowed to say that.
Is that 10 substitutions? It's incredible, isn't it?
I'll tell you what, when you've done the milk cup and things like that back in the day, where the pile of youngsters and they go, right, we're putting 10 on here, second half, and you go, jeepers, international football, we buns. Anyway, Sweden holding the ball, Northern Ireland trying to hold their shape.
Yeah, I mean, Sweden are just too good. Just on the night they've been too good. We haven't helped ourselves, but you look at their passing and their movement, it's streets ahead of us. But we knew that was coming, Michael. We did well in the Nations League. We got ourselves promoted, which is what we set out to do. But you're coming up against the big boys now. Switzerland are a decent side. These are a decent side. Denmark's going to be much the same.
And you do wonder what Sweden will be like when they've the likes of Kulusevski, Gyökeres, Bergvall in their team as well.
2 or 3 good players out as well.
But they've had more than enough for Northern Ireland as the minutes tick away.
Yeah, we can't really get on the ball. They're happy enough just to keep the ball and pass it around. With 5 goals up under no pressure, and if they see any chance of a pass, they'll try and take it. But we can't get near them.
Just trying to switch the ball across to the far side where Eliasson was waiting. Thompson, who's essentially a left wing back here, got the touch on it. It's a Northern Ireland throw in, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Referee doing that thing where he stares at his official, hoping for an out there because he wasn't so sure, but I think it was pretty clear. Little Swedish bit poking it over the line. Northern Ireland not even in a rush to take the throw in at this stage. You can tell from the body language.
No, I mean, nobody wants the ball. He's standing there looking to throw it in, and the only person that's available to him is Pierce Charles.
And as a player, I'm sure not too enjoyable these closing stages, and your pride's the fact that you want to show something. Price now skip past one, he wants it on his right foot, didn't have the room there. They were able to close him off. They've
made a good break, but he just wanted to get it on that right foot.
Out to the left, looked for bonus, couldn't find him. It's landed at Smith just inside the box.
Lucky.
And Callum Marshall arriving, making that diagonal run to the front post. I think he did get the touch.
He gets a touch, but he just can't get it on target. The defender's there right with him. A good break by Northern Ireland. But again, we're on the edge of the 18-yard box and we just can't get our shot off. On the other side, you get it into Isaac, and he doesn't take 2 minutes to get a shot on target.
And this is going to be the proof that stats can lie to you.
Yeah.
Northern Ireland have had 43% of the ball tonight. They've had 11 attempts. That's only 3 fewer than Sweden.
Yeah.
5-0 down.
5-0 down, yeah.
They're stringing the passes together. The hosts.
Yeah, they're still going. Other sides might have just decided that's enough. They're still going for goals here.
And Zanelli trying to get a ricochet there. It's pinballing around Northern Ireland's box. They haven't been able to get rid of the danger.
Isaac's
Zanelli! It's off the crossbar. He opened up. He hit it with his right foot, and the shot from Eliasson takes a deflection. It's going to be a corner, but Zanelli was very, very close to getting his first international goal on the edge of the box. So Northern Ireland looked at 6s and 7s trying to deal with the threat, and Zanelli, with a bit of quality, hit the crossbar.
Yeah, it was another great strike. I mean, they've had some great strikes on goal. But look, watch his feet here. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Isaac's feet there, sets it up for him. He's so good around the box, and he's just opened it up and just didn't come down in time. Hit the top of the crossbar.
Well, another change forthcoming as Melker Waddell will make his international debut now, and that is Negrin. That has been called over. He's marked his appearance with a goal tonight, so a chance for Jon Dahl Tomasson to have a first look at a senior level for a player who signed for Swansea at the end of the January window, but he stays on loan in Denmark until next season. 22-year-old who was called into the squad last week after Bergvall dropped out through illness. So another one that they rate as an emerging talent. And no better time to get a look at someone than when you're 5-0 up.
It's easy when you're coming on 5-0 up.
Smith, good run to the line from him, lifting it into the middle. It's felt like a little while since Northern Ireland have got a decent cross in like that. Probably part of Michael O'Neill's thinking is the only way to stop defending is to try and find a way to attack.
You know, we've just proved it again. They are poor at the back. We just haven't got at them enough. You know.
Northern Ireland get the free kick after Smith was brought down.
He's had a good game. Team has had a good game. You know, both attacking and defending.
It's been everywhere, hasn't it?
He has, yeah.
Well, there's a stat flashing up for us. Sweden have committed 17 fouls, Northern Ireland only 5. Prefer the scoreline stat to maybe be different, but there we are.
Yeah.
3 minutes to go. Northern Ireland with a free kick. Again, it's Shea Charles over it again. Sweden win the aerial ball.
Yeah, but look at them. You know, they can't get the header right. They've skied the ball up into the air trying to clear the ball. At the back, they are dodgy.
There's Karlstrom with the rather industrial clearance. He plays for Udinese, by the way. You know, they've looked at the bench and they've brought on Serie A Premier League players.
I think they've just announced that Isak was man of the match. Well, there's a shocking.
Couldn't have predicted that at all.
Yeah.
Long throw from Brown. Again, Sweden win it first. They have had a brilliant energy about them that you have to give them.
Even now, like they're chasing, you know, they're chasing balls down into the corner.
They also have a 91% pass accuracy.
Yeah.
So they have been very effective. Shea Charles, Northern Ireland, with a couple of players over on the left-hand side. It's Brown. He's in a central position. He's taking it, and Price just sort of jogging around at the minute. Little give and goes with teammates. And Sweden, as they have done all match, when Northern Ireland are doing that in their own half, playing deep, playing the ball around, they'll say, just you have at it, where you go.
You're not bothered, you're not doing them any harm.
Callum Marshall has avoided the offside flag.
We've only got one shirt in the box, only one green shirt in the box.
That's Lee Bonus. Smith on the right-hand side. Couldn't get the ball over the first man. It's fallen for Price. It's seen a deflection, and it's gone in.
He's done it again.
Isaac Price moves within one goal of George Best and Norman Whiteside. It is only a consolation on the night.
It doesn't matter. It'll do his, you know, his confidence a lot of good. But again, we've got one man in the box. They've struggled to clear the ball. It's a poor header out. It's come straight to Price. You know, he's middle of the goal and he hits a great strike, but you know, it's taken a wicked deflection past the goalkeeper, but he'll claim it.
Yeah, I think it's hit the knee of Zanelli.
At the end of the day, you know, it's well-known saying, if you don't shoot, you won't score, and he's taking advantage of that. But I mean, that little sort of pocket of play there, you know, gives you a thought of what might have been if we had been more direct.
And in scoring, if the dubious goals panel don't try and take it off him, Isaac Price becomes the first Northern Ireland player to score in 3 consecutive internationals since Kyle Lafferty in October 2014.
Well, the lad certainly has an eye for goal. He probably would think to himself he should score more, but at least we've got somebody now who, you know, he's starting to rack up the goals, and that can only be good for his confidence.
2 minutes of added time. No clean sheet for Johansson in the Swedish goal. Northern Ireland fans enjoying another Isaac Price goal at the end of what has probably felt like a long night for them. I'm sure they'll find other ways to enjoy themselves in Stockholm before they get the flight back.
It's been a long night, but you know, they've got to learn lessons. You know, I would say, you know, individually, if I was on this side, I would look at where we lost the goals from. Per picking up, you know, of set pieces, per picking up, you know, when players are running off us and giving the ball away in our own third, which is, you know, only asking for trouble, especially when you've got a guy like Isak up front. You know, and the way they've been able to move the ball very quickly when they were in our half. Well,
one of the 2 additional minutes played into the final one now is Smith, who's done well since he's come on.
Yeah, I think you always get a game out of Smith. You know, I like his pace. I always have done. I don't think he ever seems to get an extended run in the side, but I don't think he ever lets you down either.
And having someone that can pin the opposing defender back helps.
Look at that. That's awful defending. I mean, he's
come through the back of a free kick over on the far side. Jager Belka with a really silly challenge.
Yeah, boys is going nowhere. You know, they cannot defend, and it's a shame we just weren't able to get at them.
He's kicked through the back of Lee Bonus's leg. This is going to be Northern Ireland's last chance.
Let's get another goal. Get a good delivery and get another goal. Then we can think about what might have been.
And Johansson, having just picked the ball out of his net, is trying to organise his defence to make sure he doesn't do that again in close proximity. Northern Ireland, as you say, John, would love to find another and just reduce the deficit. Thompson and Shea Charles. It's Shea Charles. It's a low ball in. It's another shot from distance from Price. It's blocked on the way through, and the full-time whistle sounds. Your thoughts at full-time as Northern Ireland suffer a 5-1 defeat, John O'Neill?
Well, I think it tells us, you know, the outstanding thing is that we need the likes of Hume, we need Bradley, we need Galbraith back in the side. I mean, that's going to be, you know, where we build the side around. Going forward, you know, there's little flashes there, but I think the other thing as well is that we've got to know when we can mix it up and when we can't. I think we played very slowly out from the back. I would have liked to see us play more long balls, you know, try and play in their half, because we showed that if we can get at them, they're not the best defenders in the world, and that goes for a lot of teams in Europe at the minute, Michael. But at the end of the day, it's a friendly. It means absolutely nothing. When it comes to, you know, the next two games, we're going to have to, you know, probably do the same, depending on what side we put out. But the real stuff starts in September next year, and Michael will know that, and you know, barring injuries, they'll be ready for it.
And what positives, if there are any, do you think he can see from tonight? Are there many to be found from this?
Sorry, what did you say?
Are there many performances in there that he can look at as a positive tonight?
Well, I think Charles did well. You know, he pulled off one or two great saves. He was unlucky with the one that come across his goal. So I think he knows that that's going to be his keeper going forward. McNair was his usual self, but you know, when you give the ball away in those situations against teams like this, it doesn't matter how good you are. You know, they'll find a way to score. Isaacs was a perfect example with the first goal, and I know what the boys were saying at half-time. I, as a defender, when I'm looking at that, I'm going to close Isaac down, but I think he's going to shoot. You've got to close that down. But he's that good a player that when everybody's thrown across, he finds the empty man and scores a goal. There's very little you can do about that. That's good play. But giving the ball away, not picking up, you know, as a team, they may look at those games on a video and say, this is where we fell down. And so long as they learn from that, you know, the 5-0 scoreline doesn't really matter. But they've got to learn, and they've got to get experience very, very quickly.
Well, it was a Northern Ireland side that started the night with 8 players aged 21 or under, a very young side that ended up 5-1 losers in Sweden.
So there you have it, 5-1 to Sweden. Keith Gillespie and George McCartney watching the game with me. I think John O'Neill said at the very start of the night, sometimes in a game like this, you can maybe learn more from a defeat than you do from a win, and there's a lot of learning, I think, Keith, to be taken defensively from that. I mean, you can pick the bones out of all the goals, can't you?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, there's a lot of goals there that we could have avoided. The third one at the start of the second half, you know, we're trying to play out, give the ball away. That was the fourth one, Isaacs. But I mean, you're not going to come up against an Isaac every week, because he was unplayable tonight.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, they will learn a lot. The third goal was the free kick. They hit the post, and then it was a good finish. But
the last one, nobody tracks Alanga, and nobody stops the cross coming into the box.
Yeah, they took a quick short corner, so we were sleeping for that. You know, so you know, they said it in commentary there. It's a very young side that started that game. And you do learn things, you know, when you get beat. And John said it, thankfully it is a meaningless game at the end of the day, but you know, we will learn a lot, there's no doubt about that.
George, defensively, you'd be pulling your hair out, would you?
Yeah, I think we give the defensive side of the team plenty of credit on Friday night against Switzerland for their organisation and how to close the spaces, and didn't really give up many chances against Switzerland, but it was maybe a wee bit more the opposite tonight, and that maybe came from we were trying to press Sweden higher up the pitch tonight, and you are going to leave more spaces for them as to play round, play through, even at times play over the top. They scored 1 or 2 goals from there, and that just comes down to leaders on the pitch, a wee bit of organisation, and someone taking control to make sure that you're winning your one-on-one battles, but also you're well organised as a team. And we were probably a wee bit disjointed tonight.
Missed Trey Hume, missed Conor Bradley, and missed Daniel Ballard. And you look at a lot of the goals, and that trio and that little, quarter of the pitch where perhaps we're used to seeing them in. That's where we suffered tonight. It's not a slight against those who did play in those positions, but you're losing arguably our best player, one of our most improved players probably in terms of Trey Hume over the last 12 months or so, and a lot of people will look at Daniel Ballard and say he's one of our best defenders, and when you take that out of that one little area of the pitch and then you see it exposed tonight, you think, well, that's where you really, really miss players who have played at that level for us over the course of the last 12 months.
Yeah, and it's not to be too critical of the players who come in, and certainly Devlin, who was replacing some of the names you're saying there, or he plays in the positions they play in terms of Conor and Trey, and I actually thought Devlin done very well at times. 1v1 tonight, he was up against a
tough opponent.
A very tough opponent, has pace, had power, was direct, but he stuck to his task well. He defended well at times. I just thought, certainly in 2 or 3 of the goals, if you have Trey Hume there, even on the right side of the back three, you've seen it on Friday night when the balls are played in that channel. It's not more natural for him to cover the wing back or cover him behind the wing back. He's in that space. He's picking up the long balls. He's picking up the second balls. He can read the slid balls for I think it might have been for the second goal. Trey's probably in that space. He sees that runner. He's picking it up. He's clearing it. And maybe tonight So
that's interesting. Do you think then sometimes if you have a choice between a centre back or a full back to play as one of the 2 of 3 defenders on the outside, if you like, sometimes it's better to opt for someone who plays a lot of their football as a fullback because of what they see. Not 100% of the time, but sometimes as a fullback going to be more comfortable because of the areas that they're going to be dragged into.
Yeah, I think a back three is probably slightly different to just having your normal, say, your 2 centre halves when you're playing in the back 4. In the back 3, at times your wing backs are so high, you are asking, your right sided of the back 3, your right side of the 3 or your left side of the 3 to step out into them wide areas, to defend one-on-ones, to stop crosses, to see that long ball in the channel.
And it's funny because in other aspects of football, you're asking them then to go into areas where if you're maybe commentating on another game and a team's playing a back 4, you're saying about forwards dragging centre backs into areas of the pitch where they don't want to go. Yeah. And those are exactly the areas where if you're playing a back 3, you'd want your wide centre backs to go into.
And I think that's where Trey's more naturally. He's right back at Sunderland. That's where he played at Linfield, and now, more often than not, when he's playing for Northern Ireland, he plays the right side of that 3, and it is more natural. I thought tonight maybe at times, you could break the goals down and where Sweden have started to build up play and what it's led to. You could pick the bones out of it really, but I just thought tonight, as the back 3, we at times were, whether it was through communication or understanding or just talking with each other, helping each other out. I just thought we were getting dragged about a wee bit. But then Keith did touch on it. You're up against world class strikers, certainly in Isak, and in and around him, Sweden are a very good team.
So Next up, it's the Scandinavian tour continues off to Denmark, but there's no point in taking more softer games. We touched a bit about this on Friday night, Keith. You know, they've got to take these friendlies up a level and look at the likes of a Denmark, and then I think it's Iceland at home. But there's no point in playing more games against, you know, opposition similar to what we played in the Nations League, really, is there?
No.
It's all part of the development of these
exactly.
players.
I don't think you learn an awful lot from those games. You know, you want to be playing against top class opposition and seeing where we are, you know, because we are a young side, and we're developing all the time. And John said it in commentary, you do learn an awful lot from defeats, rather than if you're playing a Gibraltar or something at home, which is meaningless and pointless. But you know, we did stick to our task. We did have chances tonight, and 5-1 did flatter them. When we touched on it, they were quite suspect at the back. They have got some really tidy players going forward, but you know, we probably could have, you know, scored 2 or 3 more tonight. But you know, it was just, you know, they punished us at their end. You know, when Michael said it in commentary about the attempts that we had, you know, that's not a lot of attempts for you know, a team away from home playing against a top class team.
Should remind you, the under-21s were also in action today. They won 1-0 in Turkey against Uzbekistan. Francis Turley scoring the only goal of the game. We have a couple of minutes left, so Keith, I have to ask you, with a different hat on, you'll be off to see an Irish Cup semi-final this weekend. Bangor, the old hometown club, back in the last 4 of the Irish Cup, up against Dungannon Swifts. What an occasion to see even tonight. They've managed to secure even more tickets. Sold out their original allocation, got a few more, sold those out. I think they've picked up some more, and they'll probably sell those out as well. There must be an unbelievable buzz around the town, is there?
There is, and there has been all season. You know, going very well in the league. Hopefully a couple more victories there will secure promotion, and you know, it's great for the people of Bangor. The people behind the scenes, you know, have been incredible in the way they've turned the club around. And it'll be a tough game. I was at the quarter-final against Glentoran, and you know, we upset Glentoran, and Dungannon will rightfully go in as favourites, but you never know in a one-off game in a semi-final. So yeah, looking forward to it, and hopefully a victory and a wee trip back to Windsor.
Weekend off for Linfield. Of course, they played last night, beat Dungannon Swifts. George, big question in the very few seconds we have left to get your hands down in the champagne last night.
No, we're saving that there for, I think it's the 5th of April, but big Gary Ackles got plenty of champagne last night. If you have a look back at the...
Throwing it round the kit manager. Disgraceful way to treat him after all his years of service. That's about it from us. So just a reminder then, both Irish Cup semi-finals this weekend will be live on the BBC iPlayer. So Friday night it's Cliftonville against Ards, and then Saturday evening 5:30 it is Dungannon Swifts against Bangor. Keith will be chewing his fingernails. That one is also live on BBC Radio Ulster. I'm sure you'll tune in for some of the weekend action. So from me, from Keith, from George and the rest of the team, thanks for listening. Enjoy the rest of your evening.